Shalom, call halal Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rikaha Kwadash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Now more so than ever, the would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David, which is to be set up here on earth. All right, the kingdom of heaven will be here on earth. And that is made up of 12,000 men of each of the 12 tribes of Israel, which make up the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans primarily. All right. And the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathens that have the appearance of the heathens. So this is not a black only thing. And to the few Akwaf, meaning the sisters that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another brutal lesson in truth. All right, and this is Amos 9 and 11. All right, and this is the kingdom of heaven being set up here on earth. Okay, this lines up with scriptures in the book of Revelations, the end game. And this is Revelation 9 and 11, and it reads, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old." So the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom will no longer envy each other and come back together. That has happened within this truth. All right. And secondly, when the tabernacle of David in the days of old, they had dominion and conquered all the nations around them, including and especially the nation of Edom. Right, and the nation of Edom are people who refer to themselves as white or Caucasian today. All right, though many of them deny it, they know it to be truth. To be truth, the evidence and the historical relics and evidences prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt, coming out of the Bible. Right now, my internet went down. I guess it's the whole area right now, but these are still on the screen. All right, so the references that I'm going to speak about came from both these videos. All right, so this won't be a long video, but it will be edifying, Lord's will. The first video up top, and then you can see these are from the arrows of indignation. This brother diligently puts up content that is very spiritually eye-opening. All right, and it makes it easy for other brothers. He's like giving an alley-oop to the prophets. He makes it easy for brothers to expound upon his videos and go into the scriptures and go into history. All right, and right here you have, because of this, let me grab this scripture. The first video with Donald Trump on it. This is Habakkuk 1 and not 1, but 2 and 16. And it reads, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory." And so what they're trying to do, they love this word CRT. All right. And it's not theory, it's history. And what he's trying to do is erase and cover it up. He's literally trying to take away all the evidences from the Smithsonian and from museums. He has a team of lawyers going around the country to Smithsonian museums and other museums to have removed all the artifacts that shows the brutality and the savagery of slavery and the savagery of the forefathers, American patriots, the savagery of the Confederacy and Edomites in general, what they did and what they still do to so-called black people in this day. It has the one guy, I forget his name, from the Young Turks, and speaking about how his interview with the cop who told him that white people have white police officers, and I'm just going to call them slave catchers because that's what they are. That's what he called them, the slave patrol. Are pushed, taught, and that's what they do to oppress and arrest so-called black people. That even when they're in white areas, they always search out to find, so-called the label that they gave these brown people, black, to make their quotas. And he said, you think that they've been lying? Well, yes, we do brutalize them. And it's true. There's too much evidence of it. And what Donald Trump wants to do is erase it. He wants to hide it. And these people have systems of oppression against all people, not just so-called blacks. All right. But definitely they have done things that are, that are savage in nature, because this guy goes on television and he pushed this whole agenda of cleaning up Washington, and have Fox News come on and and say all these things about them being savages and all this other just wicked, evil things that they say about them. All right, I'm trying to find this evidence. I don't think that I haven't sent it over. Darn it. I haven't sent it to this phone yet. So it's actually saved into the phone that I'm using to shoot the video. So damn, that's on me. I thought I did it, and I did not. But the screenshots that I have show you, Rockefeller, and how the ADL, the IRS, and so many other things all came about. It was about 5 different things that give, them complete control over information. How they all came to be, all in 1913. And if it was a coincidence, and no, it was not. Okay. And it's funny, they talk about, so-called blacks and the savagery, just like the guy said in the video, was done to so-called black people. They didn't do it. They weren't the savages. Savagery was done to them. The violence was done to them. All right. So the truth of the matter is, I'm just going to be frank with it. All right. The truth of the matter is that if every so-called black man, all right, could go out and commit acts of vengeance, or justified vengeance against so-called white people, it still would not measure up to even a small percentage. Let's say if you said 100%, it probably would maybe to be about 1 or 2% of the 100% of hatred, murder, rape, robbery, destruction, and savagery that was done to them. There's no way it could compare. So what they like to do is they omit white crimes from the media. They omit the savagery of so-called white man, and they search for, they wait for the YNs to do the stupid shit the YNs do, all right? Which YNs only exist basically because of Esau Edom's policy. He created that situation. Meanwhile, stuff like this gets overlooked, all right? And this is Kenneth White, all right? Kenneth White was a victim of Patrick Joseph, okay? Kenneth White had begged authorities for help as his son, Patrick Joseph White, was unleashing his reign of terror on the CDC's Atlanta headquarters last Friday. But what did they have in the media? They kept trying to put the brawl in Ohio, make that the headlines. Okay? When that was happening, this is what they were doing. Okay? Donald Trump went on TV with fraudulent statistics, right? Because the statistics show you that violent crime has actually decreased. All right? But yet he put together this Gestapo, this modern day Gestapo, and unleashed them on DC. And he plans to do it in all the cities. And it's funny that it's not funny, but it's so apparent, that these things are being aimed at all the cities that have the biggest, Israelite populations of Judah, of the southern kingdom. Let's be truthful about it. All right. They're already attacking and going after the northern kingdom. So it's clear and apparent that they're coming after the tribes. They're coming after the Israelites. They know exactly who we are. They know that we're not Hispanics. They know that we're not natives. They know that we're not Negroes. We're blacks. They know that we are the Israelites of the Bible, that we are the descendants of Jacob. All right. In the second video that's on the screen, the guy pretty much does the same thing. Let me get a scripture. And remember, I'm operating without the internet here, so I'm just trying to recall these videos. And that's why they're on the screen, so you can actually go and watch them for yourselves. If you can go watch these videos, and then when you listen to my video, you'll completely see how the scriptures and the information is lining up. All right, but this is 2nd Ezra 6:27 and 28. And it reads, "For evil shall be put out, deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which have been so long without fruit shall be declared." So Donald Trump is trying to erase that truth. All right. And I've been watching the videos where all the changes have been made into the history books, making slavery like it was okay and it was a good thing. It was bad, but it was good. And it wasn't as bad as we thought. And look at all the opportunities that was, man, if you don't go on with that bullshit, okay? And in the second video, the guy is talking about deportation and his legacy and language. He's talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He kept calling them the lice-ridden colonialists, the lice-ridden murderers, because it's exactly what they are, and land thieves. And there was a particular portion when he spoke about when they deported the Sephardic Jews who were Negroes, the real Israelites, until Esau tries to claim that nationality, and the Morenos. Why would you put them, get rid of the Moors and the Sephardic Jews at the same time together? They're the same people. If you look up the definition of Moreno in the etymology online dictionary, it's going to tell you that it was a Sephardic Jew, a secret Jew, a Moor. All right, Moreno. Okay, there's a running joke, with a few of the brothers here. Every time that the Southern Kingdom comes around Issachar, they always say the Morenos, the Morenos. All right, and we kind of laugh about it because they still refer the Northern Kingdom still refers to black, so-called black men as Morenos to this day. All right, and there's a historical fact that that the Morenos, the Moors, the Sephardic Jews, were expelled from Portugal and Spain in 1492, the same year that Cristobal Colon sailed, and then Esau Edom goes to replace it and make it seem like that's where he's from. He did the same thing in Scotland. He did the same thing in Ireland. Got a great video that I intend to do a lesson on, where a young black Irish guy goes into that whole history and knows that he's Irish. And he even speaks about the Negro Question Part 4, which the evidence in that book, in the physical evidence that still exists, that's sitting in museums and in different places across Britain and Europe today, of the Basque and the bodies that they found, and the relation to the people that were in West Africa, not the rest of Africa. So why West Africa? Because he was basically declaring that the black Irish are not Africans. They love to put that title, because see, now they can't disprove the presence of all these so-called black people in Europe during the Dark Ages and the medieval times after the fall of Rome. You can't disprove it anymore. So what they try to do is do damage control, and they try to make them African. But their DNA doesn't match up with Africans, okay? Which will lead us to this receipt. Here, within the Zondervan Dictionary Bible and in the Young's Dictionary Bible, all right? It tells you that the African and the Israelites are not the same. The Negro came from Shem. He didn't come from Ham. And here's the definition, and a very similar definition in the Young's Dictionary Bible, which was put together by Jewish and white scholars. And here's what they told you. All right. It says Ham, the youngest son of Noah, progenitor, meaning the father of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. In the Young's Dictionary Bible, it tells you not the Negroid races. It was 12 of them. They were called Israelites. It says not the Negroid races. And that it also tells you that in the land north of Africa, which is the Western Asia, Asia Minor, Western Asia, that they fraudulently and falsely call the Middle East today, that these Hamites, these Africans, the Canaanites, they were well out of Africa and all up into that region, which the Lord had promised that to the sons of Shem, and not all the sons of Shem, but the Israelites, those that came out of the line of Jacob, all right, of Isaac and Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, because Abraham had lots of sons, so all his sons were Hebrews. But the line of, because the people who are claiming to be the Israelis, they're Hebrews too. They're not from Jacob's line though. All right, that is their problem. They're claiming to be from Jacob when they're not. All right, they're actually from Esau, Jacob's brother. Okay, so mainstream media has tried to lie, cover up, and control history, and they no longer can. So Donald Trump, is ordering it tried to order his lawyers, but then you have judges that are saying he cannot do that. The museums are saying, no, you can't do that. So he has a fight with that, and this goes to show you the division that is within the house of Esau. And they're divided politically on every scale, and they're divided worldwide. They're divided in Europe. They're divided here in America. All right, they're divided politically. They're divided on their outlook on race. They're divided on their outlook on religion. Everything. You got those of them who are against the alphabet, society. You got those of them that are for the alphabet society. You got many of them who want to take control over their women and make their women start having babies at 14, 15 years old and not be able to, because their numbers are down and they know they're disappearing. And then you have those of them that are against that. And his woman is against them, because a lot of Edomite women are making babies with men of color, especially the ones that they hate the most, which is so-called black men. All right. If you were to walk around any major city in America, okay, when you look at your interracial couples, you'll see all matter of people, which I don't see any, what people do is their business. All right. But what you're gonna see more than anything else, you'll see some. You'll see some black women with Edomite men. All right. But what you're gonna see is Edomite women, so-called white women, with men of color. You're gonna see them with Arabs. You're gonna see them with Elam. You're gonna even see them with Ammon and Moab. But what you're gonna see them with more than any other demographic is you're gonna see white women with the so-called white man. All right. And that is to the pain and shame of so-called white men, and that is also scriptural. So the division of them and their women turning against them is just a curse. As a matter of fact, we're going to end with those 3 scriptures. So let's go to Deuteronomy. I think it's 30:7. And it reads, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee and which persecute thee." All right. So that can't be talking about us. That's talking about Esau, Edom, and so-called white men. We're not in a position where we can persecute them. They persecute us daily, day in and day out. Okay. And our women are totally against us. And now that curse is beginning to fall upon them, especially the so-called black woman against the so-called black man. All right. Which is Esau, Edom helped forward that curse big time with that from starting in the 1960s when he gave aid to them, but they had to divorce their men. All right. You know, and they married Esau, Edom via the government. But this is Job 27 and 15 as regards to the so-called white woman, because a lot of this information that comes out that exposes white males and their vicious, savage history, a lot of it comes from so-called white women. But this is Job 27 and 15, and it reads, "Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep." They're watching their culture, they're watching their credibility, they're watching their wealth and watching their power die, and their women are not weeping for them. Matter of fact, there's so many videos of white women saying that they want to procreate with black males because they want their children to have melanin so that they're stronger. Hence the reason why, you know, I'm angry at myself that I didn't send those images over, that evidence of the rock, against the small hats and against Rockefeller and the viciousness and the wickedness that they done. He said they would drink, eat, and breathe their poison. And what is the big topic right now all over the internet? The bad food, the bad water, and how it's messing people up. All right. And it messes with the reproductive. Men's penises are shrinking. I just saw a meme from a girl that went to high school with me, and it said, and show you the mindset of these women. She was at the gathering, and she said, and she wrote, "Where I don't see any dick prints. Where did all the big dicks go?" I'm like, what? I read that. I'm like, man, this girl is out of her damn mind. But the fact is that there's a lot of truth to that because of the policy of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He has such penis envy against the so-called black man that he has launched an attack on genitals of all men. That's why there's so much day in and day out. All you're seeing is ED pills. That wasn't a thing in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s, not even in the 90s. That's something that came about really in the 2000s. All right, because all those years of the plastics and the metals and the chemicals and all well, there you go. So she wants to know where all the big rods went. They all shrank, and they're shrinking, and everyone's gonna feel the effect of that. If this man, because you got to eat, drink, and breathe. All right. So if this man stays in power, we're all doomed. Okay. This is why the Lord has to come back and deal with this man. That was a third scripture that I had. I was going to get. Oh, yeah. The water of how he brought it back. This is Mark 3 and 23. And it reads, And he called them unto him and said, and this is Yahushua speaking to the disciples. All right. And he said, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. That's what happened with us. When the northern and the southern kingdom split, they fought against each other. And then they fought, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom fought against each other. And then there was infighting amongst themselves. And then we became easy prey to the other nations. And Esau, Edom was able to get above us and take us down. All right. And that's exactly what happened. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. So, infighting within the family, within the race. They're going to lose if they separate. And if Satan shall rise up against himself, proving that they are Satan, they are the adversaries. The adversaries are at each other now. Okay? And be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. So The water Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, we're witnessing the end and the downfall of Esau, Edom. Because if this man does not go down, we're all dead. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rekah HaKodash Kwam Yasharala Abad Babal.